Hey everyone, I'm Matt with Ozark Overland Adventures, and in this video, we're going to talk about these tires. These are the Milestar Patagonia MT02s, not the original Patagonia MTs. These are the newer MT02 versions, and these are not the same tire. Now, the Milestar Patagonia MT has got to be the most controversial, hated, maybe, misunderstood tire that I've ever seen. I have run 3 sets of the original Milestar Patagonia MTs, and I personally loved them. They were my favorite tire that I had ever run. And just so you know, I have run Toyo MTs. I have run Nitto Trail Grapplers. We've actually, between my wife and I, we've run 2 sets of those. We have had Arturo Trail Blades. That's the worst tire we've ever ran. We have run the Toyo RTs. I have run the Mastercraft Courser MXTs, which is a company, it's kind of a sister company to Cooper. They're made by Cooper Tires. So it's kind of like the SST Pro, but different. So run Nittos, Toyos, multiple sets of Toyos, Arturos, Mastercraft, and I've been running Milestars for years. Back when I had my JK, I had 2 sets of 35s on my JK. When I got my Gladiator, knew immediately I wanted the 37-inch Milestar MTs. And just right at a year ago, just over a year ago, Milestar released the new MT02s. And I do, full disclosure, I do not want to hide this fact. I don't want anybody, I know it's going to get asked. Yes, we are sponsored by Milestar Tires. Have been for a year now. So we are sponsored by Milestar, and we run the Milestars because we want to. We are under no contractual obligations to like the tires. We are not under contractual obligation to run the tires. We do not make any money off of Milestar. We do put our vehicles, when they ask, in their booths at the various expos and stuff. And we've got an event coming up very, very soon, the More Expo. If you don't have your tickets for that, get them. It's at Springfield, Missouri. But we will be there, and we will be hanging out with Milestar Tires. Our Jeeps will not be in their booth, but we will be doing a meet and greet at the Milestar Tire booth. So we have a very good relationship with Milestar Tires, and that is by choice, because I genuinely love the tires. And I'm going to go into the details up to the why. I'm going to talk about the differences of the MT02s versus the original MTs. So at the end of this video, if you decide, you know what, that looks like a pretty legit tire, I may check those out. Awesome. If you decide, nope, I hate them, I've always hated them since Light Bright ran them, I don't care. This is just information. So they don't even know I'm making this video. So there we go. So let's get into this. Like I said, I started with Milestar Patagonia MTs on my previous JKU. Honestly, bought them for 2 reasons. One, Light Bright was running them at the time, saw the incredible performance they were getting out of them, and knew that they were a dirt cheap budget tire. And at that point in my life, a dirt cheap budget tire that performed well was right up my alley. So I got a set, and it did not take long, a few trips off-road, and I was blown away by their performance. They just did so well. So well that when that set wore down fairly quickly, I might add, that's one of the issues with the original Milestar Patagonia MT is they did wear fast because they are a softer compound, and that by nature is going to wear fast on pavement. So after those wore down, I wanted a second set, and I got a second set of 35s for my JK. Had those on it when I got rid of my JK, and as soon as I bought the Gladiator, I knew I wanted a set of 37-inch Milestar Patagonia MTs, and that's what I started with. So my first year of owning, well, almost first full year of owning the Gladiator, I was running the 37-inch Milestar Patagonia MTs, the originals, and put 20,000 miles on those tires. And within 20,000 miles, those tires needed to go. They did wear fast. I put a lot of pavement miles on those tires, driving back and forth to Utah, Colorado, all over the place. And so they wore very, very quickly, which I was expecting. And at that point, Milestar released their new MT02s. And there's a couple differences between the MT02s. If you looked at an MT and an MT02 side by side, if you don't know what you're looking for, it would be very difficult to tell them apart. Just from the tread design alone, the tread design is almost identical. But there are some key differences. First of all, Milestar went back and tweaked the compound for the MT02 for the purpose of making them wear better. The original MTs had a history of uneven wear. You had to rotate those tires about every 3,000 miles to get some longevity out of them. And I wasn't the best at that, to be honest with you. So anyway, Milestar went back and tweaked the compound to make them wear better on pavement, but still retain that great off-road performance that they were known for. The other thing they did, they went back and they tweaked some of the siping. The MT02s have more siping than the original MTs did. And I'll get into that in a minute. And that's really the two main differences. The biggest difference is the compound. They tweaked the compound, and these wear incredibly well on pavement. This is my second set of MT02s. I just put these on 3 weeks ago, right before my recent New Mexico trip. And my original MT02s had them right at a year, had 27,000 miles on them. And when I took them off my Gladiator, they still had 11 30-seconds worth of tread depth. They come with 19 30-seconds of tread depth. They still had 11 30-seconds, so more than 50% tread life left. And the reason that I went ahead and swapped them out were two reasons. One, for the amount of driving that I do, once my tread gets close to 50%, I'm going to swap them out. Because with all the driving that I do here in Arkansas, in the Ozarks, with all the mud that I go through, 50% is my threshold. It's just when my wife's tires get to 50%, we'll swap them out too. But our first set of 38s that we got were a C load range rating, which I had never run a C-rated tire before. I've always ran Ds and unfortunately one E-rated in the Toyos, but these are C-rated tires. Well, Milestar just released a new D-rated version of the MT02 and a 38, and I wanted to try that out because my Gladiator is heavy. I do tow with it, and so I wanted to see the difference between the C and the D-rated, and there is definitely a difference. With the D-rated, I can tell that the sidewall is stiffer. With the C-rated, like my wife has here, if I was just running Forest Service roads and stuff, I'd air down to 20. I may not air down at all. But a lot of times, just normal basic trails, I'd air down to 20 just because with the C-rated, that gave me plenty of sidewall flex. And it was very comfortable. On my trip to New Mexico, I aired these down to 20 like I normally do. And I could tell that the sidewall was stiffer. The ride was not as soft and cushy as I was used to with the C-rated, so the next day I aired them down to 15, and it was much better. But I can definitely tell the difference on pavement. The stiffer sidewall, I don't have as much body roll and stuff that I had with the C-rated. So right now I'm loving the D-rated, but I've only had them for a few thousand miles in one trip to New Mexico and one trip to the Ouachita National Forest. So I'm still in the process of evaluating these, but so far so good. All right, let's get into the performance characteristics of these tires. I have had these in mud, lots of mud. I've had these on rocks. I've had these on slick rock. I have had these on tons of dirt roads, gravel roads, rutted roads, washboard roads. I've had them on a lot of pavement in all conditions. I have very little experience with these in snow and just a little bit of experience in sand, especially like in Utah on Hell's Revenge Trail. There's a lot of sand on that trail. In Colorado, Medano Pass, there's a lot of deep sand on that trail. So just a little bit of experience in sand. And here's my experience so far. The MT02s on pavement, no issues whatsoever. Incredible tire. I have been in some massive rainstorms, driven a lot on wet pavement in these things, never slipped. Never ever. I've seen people with the original MTs talk about them slipping and not doing well on pavement. That is not the case with the MT02s. They are a fantastic tire on pavement. On the rocks, I've never wheeled a better tire on the rocks. And me and my friends, we've all got different tires. Several of them run BFG KM3s. They've run KO2s in the past. They have run some Mickey Thompsons. But on the rocks, no tire that I have personally used or my friends have used doing a comparison on obstacles, these tires just grip like crazy on the rocks and on the slick rock, like out in Utah and Moab. We have a trip coming up to Moab here in just 2 weeks from the time of recording this video, and my wife and I will both be going with our friends. So be sure to hit subscribe and let's see how they do. Sand, brief experience I've had in sand. What little I've had, they did great. No complaints there. I have not had much experience in the snow, so I can't speak to that. Let's talk about the mud, because I see a lot of people complaining about their mud performance, at least on the original MTs. Like I said, I'm here in Arkansas. We have a lot of mud. We have a lot of nasty clay. It's an environment where you need a good mud tire to get through without, unless you enjoy pulling cable. I have not had an issue with these tires at all in mud. They perform well. Now, do they perform as well as like a BFG KM3? I think in mud the KM3 probably has an advantage, but I have yet to be stuck in mud in these tires. Do they do well in mud? Absolutely. Are there better tires for mud? Yes. There definitely are. I mean, just the nature of these tread blocks with the tighter center section, they do have nice wide lugs here on the side. I think you'll get a little bit of compromise in the mud, but not enough to I wheel them all the time, not enough to sway me from using them, because I think they perform very, very well. But there are tires that perform better in mud. All right, let's talk about noise, because one of the things that this tire is known for is being one of the quietest MT tires that you can get. And I would definitely agree with that. These things are insanely quiet for an MT. Now, as they wear down, yeah, the noise does get a little louder. As you rotate them, you get some differences there. But overall, from a noise level standpoint, these are the quietest MTs that I have ever ran, and they're fantastic for that. All right, let's talk about the tread wear, because that's the thing that the original MTs were plagued by. I mentioned the life of my original MT02s, 11:30 seconds when I got rid of them after having them for 27,000 miles. That's really good. That is really good, especially compared to the original MTs. But to have more than 50% tread life left at 27,000 miles on an EMT is fantastic. And I rotated mine with every oil change, so every 5,000 to 6,000 miles. I also had a bad ball joint here on the front passenger for about 10,000 of those miles, which contributed to some faster wear. Let's talk about my wife's. She has right at 24,000 miles on this set of tires. And I happen to have a tread depth gauge with me right here. So 24,000 miles. $14.30 seconds. Let me just do a double check somewhere else just to make sure I didn't have a bad spot here. Nope, 14.30 seconds. I realize you can't see that very well, but 14.30 seconds, 24,000 miles. It's lost 5.30 seconds of tread depth. That's phenomenal. That is night and day difference between the original Patagonia MTs, because by 24,000 miles, the original Patagonia MTs would have had to have been replaced a long time ago. But 14-30 seconds, fantastic performance on tread life. So the new compound works great. Let's talk about the tread design, because these look different than any other MT, and it is a different tire than any other MT. What Milestar has done is they've got nice big blocks here with a lot of tread depth. They've got stone ejectors, and they work. They clean out very well. It has the center block here, which are tighter, and that's why they're so quiet. And these are a crown tire, and a lot of people misunderstand that when you have a crown tire, which means, actually I think you can still see it on here. Yeah, it's got lines here. It's got a yellow line here and a blue line here. This is where you're running on pavement. You're not running on a flat surface like you would with a traditional MT. So these are meant to be run at normal street pressure. We run ours at 37, 38 PSI on the road, and they do awesome. So that is something unique to the Milestar Patagonias, is the fact that it is a crown tire, and you do run these at higher pressures than you would a normal MT, where you would typically do like a chalk test and try to get your air pressure just right. You may run them at 32. Some people may run them at 28. So these are running at higher pressures. The siping works fantastic. Like I said, neither one of us has ever had any issues on wet pavement and slipping, that sort of thing. They do a good job. The siping also provides incredible grip off-road, because it allows the tread blocks to flex and move and grip the terrain. And I mean, like I said, that really is a killer performing tire off-road. All right, now let's talk about the sidewalls, because the sidewalls have been another one of those issues that people have talked about, the Patagonias having a weak sidewall. Like I said, this is I personally run the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th set on my own rig. This is my wife's first set, so that's 6 sets of Milestar tires between our 2 rigs. And I have had one sidewall issue, and that was actually recent. It was on our recent outing in the Ozarks. It was night, it was rainy, lots of downed trees along the trail, trees that had storm damage. And I was going around a corner, didn't get high enough, and I slipped and slid sideways into a downed tree that had some jagged edges on it. And that tree pierced the sidewall on my previous C-rated MT02. We had a long day, so I did not go back and inspect the tree and look at all the variables of that. It was raining. We dropped it. We changed the tire as fast as we could and got out of there. It's been a long day, so I didn't deal with that. But I have had one sidewall failure out of 6 sets of tires, and I like to think we wheel pretty hard. I like to think we do. So that's the only sidewall failure I've ever had. I don't think that puncture sliding sideways, into a down tree like that. I don't think that was a sidewall failure. I don't think many tires would have fared much better than that, but that's pure theory, pure hypothesis. But I've only had one sidewall failure on all the Patagonias that I have run, from the original to the MT02s. So take that for what it's worth. Maybe I just don't wheel hard enough. Some might argue that, but that's my experience. All right, let's talk about the weight of these tires, because I'm very impressed with how lightweight these are compared to a lot of the competition. The 38-inch, actually both the C and the D, they're only a half a pound, I think 0.4 pounds difference between the two, between the C and the D weight rise. So we're going to go right in the middle at 82 pounds. I think the C rated is 82.3, and this is actually 81.8. So the D is actually slightly lighter than the C's. But we're just going to say 82 pounds for the 38 inch. Compared to some of the other tires, a 38 inch Nitto Trail Grappler is 90 pounds. So 8 pounds more per tire for the Nitto Trail Grapplers. The Toyo MT in a 37, because they don't make a 38 in the Toyo MT. The 37 inch Toyo MT weighs 94 pounds. That's an E-rated tire. They are known for being ridiculously heavy. But a 37 inch Toyo is 94 pounds. That's 12 pounds more per tire than the MT02s. That's pretty awesome. All right, and finally let's talk price, because the reason why a lot of people were drawn to these tires with the original MTs was because they were stupid cheap, like so much cheaper than the competition, and they performed really, really well. You did have the fast, tread wear issue, but at that price, it really wasn't that big of a deal. But and I've seen some complaints that the new MT02s, they're not the cheap tire anymore. Well, let me get my cheat sheet here because I'm not going to remember all these numbers. So before making this video, did a little quick search on Discount Tires website, and the 38 inch MT02s, as of this recording, $332 each. I mean, that's not cheap. Not cheap at all. But for a 38 inch tire, $332 for the new MT02. The original MT, still available, a little bit cheaper than that. I think $289, $299, something like that. The Nitto Trail Grappler in a 38, $485. So $332, $485, $150 more a tire. The Toyo MT in a 37, $475 for a 37 inch Toyo. BFG KM3, $489 per tire. So that's a pretty significant price difference there between these and a lot of the competition. So they are still very much on the budget friendly side compared to the others. So super happy about that. Well, like I said at the beginning of this video, I absolutely love these tires. Not because we're sponsored by Milestar. I was running them long before then and loved them long before then. But I just genuinely love these tires. So if you have any questions, put them in the comments. If you have hate, put them in the comments. If you have, I know a bunch of people that run these tires and absolutely love them. So share your feedback. Now, personal experience. Don't give me that hearsay crap. Don't give me that, well, so-and-so said so-and-so, and I saw this happen. That's not good. Give me your personal experience with these in the comments. And like I said, hit me up. Ask me all the questions. So I hope this was helpful. Because there's a lot of, I think there's a lot of misinformation. There's a lot of controversy around the Milestar Patagonias, and I wanted to clear them up because I get flack for running these tires. I mean, seriously, people put in the comments, well, if you ran better tires, whatever. So hopefully this was helpful. Good video, like if you did, give subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Check out our Patreon. If you like what we're doing and you want to support the channel, get access to special content, events, and all of our GPS data, links in the description. And for Ozark Overland Adventures merchandise, like our go away shirt, go to shopoverlandapparel.com. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye.